Hello there, welcome to this little video. Another one in the long line of presentations I've been making about assignments. Not very exciting stuff, however, we all need to do them. So today I'm talking about the diploma unit for the finance stuff, which is called Manage Budgets and Financial Plans. The unit identifier is BSBFIM501A. So if that's one you're enrolled in, you're watching the right video. I'm not going to talk about the first few pages of the assignment. That's all front matter that's explained in a separate video, which hopefully you've already accessed at least once. I'm going to talk about the assessment tasks. So in this case there are two parts, Part A and Part B. So Part A, normally just some knowledge-based questions there, but I've decided this time just to choose the questions that reflect the required knowledge from the workshop notes. So they were a substantial set of notes of the people that came to the workshop. Obviously you can download those, and you'll notice in the first, there's 4 chapters actually there combined, but in the first chapter, which was the introductory one to financial terms and balance sheets and things like that, there are some My Workplace questions. As you go through the text, it'll say My Workplace. It'll ask you what happens in your workplace relative to the information that's just been presented in the chapter. So I'm asking you to do the first 7 of those, so it's 1 to 7. So a little bit of research within your workplace to answer those questions. Not a lot, I hope. And also there are some exercises in there, so I'm asking for exercises 1 and 2 to be completed and be part of the assessment. For those who came to the workshop, you've probably already had a pretty good look at exercises 1 and 2 and probably noticed those questions, so you're way ahead of the game, but otherwise just go through the chapter and relate the information to your workplace and complete the exercises. So Part A, it's easy to talk about, but it takes a little bit longer to do it, doesn't it? Anyway, Part B now. So there's 4 basic tasks within this, and these reflect the 4 elements that are within this unit. So Task 1, you might notice, Part B, this is on page 6. And there is a little note here at the top. It's not little, actually, it's in bold. Ensure that you have completed training and or the review activities from the workshop notes before commencing this assignment. So in other words, I'd like to make sure that you've gone through this entire document, looked at the My Workplace questions as you go, satisfy yourself that you had the right answers based on the answers that are provided at the end of each chapter. So those sample answers give you a guide to what you should have come up with in your answer. And in the case of the exercises, they'll actually give you the numbers. They'll give you the actual correct answer. You can compare it against that. So if you're unsure of any of those things, please send me your work and I'll give you some feedback. But if you are satisfied that you've done those well, you've read the answers and think, yeah, okay, I'm pretty much on track here, then you can proceed with the Part B of the assignment. So Task 1 then. Requires you to actually get hold of a 12-month budget, so they're generally available in workplaces. It doesn't have to be necessarily for the whole organisation, but for a department or a significant section of a business. So we need that 12-month budget. If you can't get it from your employer, you may be able to get it from other sources. If you can't get it from anywhere else, then I guess I can try and find a case study for you, but I prefer this to be based on real stuff, not made up stuff. So wherever you work, there must be, well not must be, but there should be a budget of some sort. And even if there's only a skerrick of one, there's not a lot of detail in it, it still gives you a lot to talk about when you come to answer this assignment task. Explain what consultation occurred with staff or stakeholders in the formulation of the budget. So this is some of the communication leadership sort of aspects of the unit coming into play. So we don't just come up with numbers for the sake of it, we don't just repeat last year's budget, meant to be a bit of consultation, come up with the best estimate of what's going to happen. Identify any changes you would make to the budget if you had the authority to do so, and or improvements to the consultation process that you would recommend. Okay, so fair enough. So we've got to actually see the document, make some comments about how accurate it is, what consultation occurred, what changes would you make in that process. So let's move on to Task 2 then. Describe the financial management system used by your employing organisation or one that you can access. So a financial management system, what does that mean? Pretty much covered in the notes, of course, but that comes down to how you manage the finances. So are the periodic allocations from revenue from various grants and things, are the variance reports generated every month or more often, depending on what industry you're in? Do people get together and discuss those reports? Do they make management decisions from those reports? Do we change the plan of the work because there's obviously some problem, or do we come up with some contingency plan? That's a pretty important one, is what sort of contingencies are built in to the financial management system. So the next part is to describe what support is provided to your team members to allow them to perform competently within the management of finance. So once again, the people aspect of this finance unit. When it says support, that might be helping people interpret the information. Sometimes the budget stuff, when it's presented, is written in accountancy sort of terms, so we might need to help people understand what they are. Might mean we need to give some training. It might mean people who aren't reaching their targets or key performance indicators, if they're in the budget, then they need support to do that as well. So when it says support, it means training, leadership, consultation, that sort of stuff. All right, so that's on the financial management side. So that's not just preparing the budget now, it's actually seeing how it runs throughout the year. Right, task 3 then. Obtain a financial budget and actuals report from your employer. Okay, so we've probably got the budget from task 1 now, but we want to see some actuals, in other words, some variance reporting, monthly reporting, whatever. Just for one period in this time. So if your budgeting cycle is a year, it might report on a year, but if you're doing variance reports every month, then I'd like to see just one of the monthly ones. If it's done quarterly, then one of the quarterly ones, that sort of thing. Explain the cause of the variances for the time period that are there. So sometimes that'll be already given and you can just talk about whether those explanations are true, but otherwise I would like you to think about, okay, do we just accept this variance, whether it's favourable or unfavourable? And what are the reasons for it? Is it likely to affect the budget in the future? That's the sort of thing we're looking for. So issues relevant to expenditure overruns and planned or actual contingency should also be explained. So was there a contingency already built in to the budget? Say for an interest rate rise or something, have we got something in there for that? Was it used? If it wasn't there, what should have been there as a contingency? So if you can't actually access that sort of information from your workplace, but I really encourage you to do your best you can to find this information. There is a case study provided, and that's looks like this. I don't know whether you can see that too much, a lot of numbers, a lot of variances there. It gives you the ability to tell me about what you notice in those ones. But obviously you have to make a lot of assumptions in this one because you don't know the business as well as your own. I'll move on to task 4 then. Obtain an annual report from your employer. So an annual report, usually a balance sheet, usually a profit and loss statement. And I suppose you can even get these off the internet for publicly listed companies, but once again I prefer if it can be on your organisation. Attach a copy of the statement of financial performance, the profit and loss statement, and a statement of the financial position, which is the balance sheet. As you're probably aware from the readings and the workshop, balance sheet is just a position at one point in time, usually the 30th of June, whereas the profit and loss is over a period of time, telling us what revenue we got, what expenses we had, and what profit or loss that we made. So we need those two documents basically, because you can guess probably from this that we're going to do some ratio analysis. And if you haven't read the notes, you haven't read the workshop, you might know what that means, but please, there's a chapter there devoted to ratio analysis. On vCampus you will find some more ratio formulae and some more explanation of what the formula or what the result of those ratios tells you about the health of the organisation. So we want you to choose at least 3 ratios to calculate for 2 consecutive years. So I need to see your workings on that just to make sure you know how to apply the formulas. So I want you to pick 3 not just the easiest to work out, but 3 that tell you the most. And you might choose more than 3, hopefully you will, but at least 3. So it's about profitability, about liquidity, and about the effectiveness of the management system. So if we can find 3 that sort of fit with those, that would be great. What do I ask you? And then comment on the organisation's performance relevance to these ratios. Once again, if you cannot access this sort of information, lo and behold, we've provided a small case study for you. So, and it includes the balance sheet, and it includes a profit and loss statement, and then you can choose which ratios you're going to work on. So, fairly big unit this one, so don't delay in getting started on it. If you've got 6 weeks or maybe up to 8 weeks to get it done, then you want to do a bit on this every week really to keep up to date with it, so at least 3 hours or 4 hours a week to try and get through these assessment tasks. And at the end of it, hopefully you'll feel pretty satisfied that you fully understand this. You can apply ratio analysis, maybe even compile your own share portfolio, because now you've got the ability to study the performance of businesses that are on the stock market. Anyway, thanks for watching and good luck with that assignment. See ya.